Hello, Playful Warriors, and welcome to another episode of Climate for Fun, the podcast that turns climate change into a laughing matter. It is Antonio Salituro, climate scientist, writer, and comedian. I'm thrilled to have Corinne Rivera with me today. Corinne is leveraging AI to raise awareness on climate crisis and spark action. Welcome, Corinne, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Ready to laugh at climate change as much as you can?
Here for it.
Cool. Let's crack on then. Right, Corinne, you created Styles of Anthropocene, which is a collection of AI generated images, blending models wearing fancy dresses with catastrophic scenarios like melting glaciers, coral bleaching, and so on. So, would you call yourself the Kim Kardashian of climate conscious fashion? I mean, no, really. Can you shed some light on this project?
I mean, look, respect to Kim K's business savvy, but I think the only connection between the art project and her is this concept of influencers. So, Styles of the Anthropocene poses the question, what if we paid as much attention to climate catastrophes as we did influencers and celebrities, right? What would that world look like? And for me, text to image tools like Midjourney are revolutionary in their ability to help us imagine alternative worlds, right? And in this way, never before have we had the opportunity to so quickly blend concepts like coral bleaching and haute couture. And it gives us so many new opportunities to create new stories. And I think the climate crisis is really in need of a PR makeover, frankly. I think that the narrative is, as you know, and in part why you have this podcast is these narratives are very doom and gloom, scientific narratives, and rightfully so, right? It's a very serious and urgent topic. And for someone like me, I love to go down the rabbit holes of systems and how they relate. But for most people, it makes them very uncomfortable and they shut down or they ignore the problem. And I've really come to a place of, unless we make climate communication culturally relevant, dare I say, sexy and cool, I really don't think that the wider population is going to engage with it. So, in part, my work is an attempt to make climate conversations a bit more culturally relevant. This is why it was a really big deal for me to have Harper's Bazaar pick up a lot of my pieces and actually tag biochar' Wikipedia page in that, right? It's how do we have more people talking about climate solutions? So even though 9 out of 10 people looking at this artwork would not know that it's referring to dead zones and algae blooms, this is how we start to make people who are a bit unconscious a little bit curious.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you will need to simplify the communication, I suppose. But like, if you would answer your question, because your project is about the question: what if we paid as much attention to climate issues as we did to influencer? So, like,
Yeah.
the answer, what would be the answer? Like, we would solve the climate crisis tomorrow. Like,
I mean, absolutely, right? Like, think about how money and attention goes into celebrities and influencer deals. It's such a big part of culture. And, without engagement from people, we're not going to move at the momentum we need to address our climate crisis. I think for me, interjecting climate impact work into spaces where people are already comfortable, familiar, spending time and money, this is the real strategy in which I'm trying to take.
I mean, we need to go that way, definitely. Your project was awarded the Fair Prize in the Create COP28 competition. So I guess Sultan Al Jaber was the chair of COP28, right? So he said there is no science behind the need of phasing out fossil fuels to stop global warming. I say that there is no science behind the need of letting people like him chair the World Top Conference on how to stop global warming. Would you agree on that? What do you think about that?
Oh my gosh, of course I agree. And, a lot of my work comes from a place of grief, right? How can we allow an oil sultan to lead negotiations to mitigate climate change, which, we know fossil fuels and burning them uh, directly correlates to this. So, my day job is a foresight strategist and an AI predictive analytics company. And for me, I've been looking at the data around fossil fuel narratives. During lockdown, when people were not traveling as much, the oil price per barrel briefly dipped below zero. This is the time that all the fossil fuel companies started investing in renewable energies, creating net zero pledges, and everyone was kind of like trying to compete with each other, right? Amazon had one and Google, like everyone was getting on board. When Russia invaded Ukraine and the EU and the US said, we're not going to take your gas and fossil fuels anymore.
Mm.
Chevron, the Exxon, they're like, hey, we're here. We have your reliable energy. We have your cheap energy. And now if you look at it today, the oil price is above 100. And so quickly we started to see fossil fuel companies, desert their pledges for net zero. Amazon kind of backtrack. We've seen this backpedaling. And it's because, oil became significantly profitable again. And so in that way, when we had all these enterprise organizations talking about net zero, now it kind of shift to, oh, we need reliable energy. And so in this way, to also then see the United Nations have, Coca-Cola sponsor one of the COPs, and to have, an oil baron kind of lead the conversations, it's really disheartening to people to know that we're really not taking the steps necessary to progress. So it was really sad to see him, and that comment of, there's no scientific reason why we need to stop is very concerning.
I mean, because the point is that it's good to involve these people. We have to, but it comes up with this something like that, it's just unacceptable. That's the thing. But the problem is that it's all revolving around money. That's the problem. We need we need to make even more profitable renewables and other solution like that. Anyway, talking about solutions, so each part in an event called Tell Us, which is a collaborative dining and music experience that engage and educate participants on climate solution through design, nightlife, and mythology. So now that sounds super cool, but how much hallucinogenic drug does it involve? I mean, tell us about more about Tell Us. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm curious.
There was lots of fungi present, but no hallucinogenic drugs present.
Yeah, I believe you.
Definitely. And yeah, we wanted to get creative on educating people around climate solutions. So we centered the entire event around the four elements. And we had our elemental goddesses who were dressed in custom made couture gowns. So our earth goddess represented old growth redwoods. Our fire goddess represented biochar. Our air goddess was direct air capture, and our water goddess was regenerative kelp. And so we kind of had them floating through space. The direct air capture had these little origami Chinese balloons that people were made to kind of like blow in their carbon and bring it over to the altar. And yeah, in this way, we just wanted to make climate education a little sexy, a little cool. And
Obviously.
the pairing of a nightlife space with climate education, a lot of people wouldn't think that nightlife could be primed for ecological work. But there's a beautiful organization called Nocturnal Medicine that centers on climate grief and raves. And in this way, when we talk about climate, inherent is a lot of triggering conversations, a lot of anxiety and dread that comes up. And so we really lack the cultural infrastructure and spaces to have these conversations. Or if you're kind of left with this like feeling of depression or, oh my gosh, this is so bad. So pairing those difficult conversations with spaces where there's opportunity for somatic release and catharsis, right? We can literally shake out those heavy emotions and integrate them. So this was a bit of the activation that we did at TELUS as well.
Yeah, that's honestly, I would like to take part in one of this. Yeah, honestly, there's gonna be another.
Similar, not similar one will definitely take place. This one is going to be incorporating collective prompting and mid-journey creation as well. So a little bit different, kind of stepping
Yeah,
out of theatrical and leaning more into the co-hallucinatory capacities of AI and group prompting.
yeah, cool. Sounds cool. Right. So one of the climate solution you mentioned is biochars, right? This is very close to my heart because I was making biochars out of pig shit during my PhD. I mean, honestly, seriously. So I'm not new to the concept, right? But I was intrigued by the way you call biochars. You said they are like compost on steroids, which, makes sense. I mean, when you talking about biochars or some of the legal stuff smuggled, during the party? I mean, well, okay, tell us what's powerful, what's so powerful? Because I know some potential, but you might know more than me.
Well, I'm not sure about that. And to my knowledge, biochar is totally legal. And I think when, you know, ranking and prioritizing climate solutions, I always look for multi-beneficial, multifaceted solutions. And so anything that takes a waste stream and turns it into something useful, I kind of clock as something really important. So, in that way, when we think about the prevalence of wildfires throughout our world, right? Every year we kind of have this wave of California, Canada, Greece, Indonesia, you name it, right? And when these forests are ravaged, we end up with this waste surplus material, right? This organic matter that through pyrolysis machines, right, we can break down this organic matter without oxygen to create this charcoal like substance, biochar. And biochar kind of incubates life. It has, when added as a soil supplement, and this is why I kind of call it this compost on steroids, right? It helps retain water as one of its benefits, which again, in areas that are ravaged by wildfire, we need to retain all the water we possibly can, right? It also helps store carbon as well as draw down. And when we have really like biodiverse soil, which again, it is this additive, it helps plants grow longer and thicker root structures, which also enables them to better sequester carbon. And so, given that we have this material readily available all around the globe, it minimizes the need to be shipping things from everywhere. Oftentimes, especially in California and the redwoods, they're processing, they have these kind of like anaerobic digesters within the forest itself. So you remove the transport emissions inherent in that process. But, there's this remarkable statistic that if we put just 10% of the world's soil added with biochar, we could sequester over 80% of our global emissions, which is frankly remarkable. And
Yeah.
we need, when we're talking about the timeline of impact, right? We need solutions that can be deployed at scale affordably today. And so for me, biochar really is one of those solutions.
Sounds like. I mean, honestly, during my PhD, I would never thought about, that sort of impact. But, because I never looked into agriculture. I was making a sort of filter to capture CO2 directly, which, is another potential application. But agriculture, I think it sounds like the place where biochars need to be. Now that's cool. So coming back to the event, right? This is very important right now because I came across a recent report, talking about the evolution of climate denial on YouTube, right? So basically, at first it was climate change is not real or not caused by humans, right? Now it is climate solution like EVs or solar panels don't work. Yeah, but the trouble is that one third of teenagers are buying into this new climate denial. So maybe the solution could be dragging youngster on Telus dance floor and having security have their smartphone to off, and before they get in, so they can't check this rubbish, right? What do you think?
I mean, yes, I think again, merging impact and nightlife and parties and events where people are already spending time and money is really powerful, right? And again, it's a harder battle to change someone's mind. And I admire people doing that. I really tried to go that behavioral change route. But what I kind of landed on is how do we create spaces where, independent of what your belief systems are, you're financially contributing to a situation that directly funds a climate solution, right? So you could have like a, younger person who doesn't necessarily believe in climate, but wants to attend this really cool, sexy event because it's cool and sexy first and foremost. But like, a byproduct of that is, the impact, right? But you mentioned Kim Kardashian earlier, and there was a bit of uproar in the climate space because she was utilizing, for the marketing for her like nipple bra, where she was like, like it's getting hotter, but like I'm gonna help you stay cool. And at first, I had a very similar kind of like knee jerk reaction of like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe she's doing this.
Yeah.
But then I shifted my perspective because I recognized that one of the most influential pop culture figures actually said that climate change is real. And I know that this is a low bar, right? Frankly, that we even have this prevalence of denial. But as this report illuminated, like this is happening more and more, misinformation. I think that I ultimately was really happy that to see such an important person at least communicating about it, right? We need the Kylie Jenners and the Bella Hadids and all of these people to at least acknowledge it, right? And not acknowledge it just in the like Leonardo DiCaprio way of like posting a picture of like a dying polar bear or a textile waste thing and making people feel guilty. Like Kim did it with a little bit of humor, you know what I mean? And this is what we need, and we really don't see that at like the higher levels of pop culture.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, I think from the looking at the spot, the promo from a marketing perspective, it was awesome. I mean, honestly, I must admit. I mean, I know I still consider it a bit greenwashing, but as you said, is a big step that Kim Kardashian is talking about global warming, even talking about it, even mentioned the word global warming. It just, it's an achievement, I think. But obviously, it's good also to talk about her talking about global warming, if you know what I mean. Because some people might not appreciate, what greenwashing is, and that she could kind of make a profit out of this, So it's good to, it's good to take it as a positive, event, let's say. But at the same time, we need to explain things. But it's good. It's good. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Kim. It's pretty hard in there. And well, okay. So coming back to the denial report,
Yeah.
there is a silver lining. Okay, I'm sure you will be excited about. So analysts used an AI tool called Cards to process tons of data. So I guess you could call it Cards for Humanity in this case. Um, but the AI deck includes some cards which could be against humanity. So like what if you come across a YouTube video where an AI version of yourself say, "Oh, tell us event is bullshit." What would be your reaction? Like,
If an AI version of me said that Telus was bullshit, well,
hey,
first and
could happen.
foremost, it could happen. I would tell that AI that, it will never be as seductive as I am. It will never be as charming. It will never be as sexy as me, frankly. And, there's nothing it can do about it. And I kind of make this joke where I say that, if we know that sex sells, and we need to start selling climate solutions, right? This is the untapped strategy that I really want to start incorporating and have incorporated in events and the work that I do. So, if the AI was to tell me that Telos was bullshit, I'd be like, sorry, you can't dance on the dance floor with us. Like that sucks.
That's
That sucks.
true. That's a good point, actually. No dance, no physical dancing, at least, yeah. Or maybe, I'm thinking about OnlyFans instead of selling your feet, like you can sell biochar jars or something like that. That would be interesting. Okay, cool. That's good. So, okay, difficult question for you. Tell me one thing about climate change that makes you laugh.
Like a joke?
Well, no, it's anything that can, you think about this and then, oh, actually, it's funny. If there is any, I don't know. Maybe there is none.
Maybe not necessarily funny, but something I find really humorous is, one of the most impactful climate solutions we can participate in each day is making sure that our food waste doesn't get thrown in the garbage.
Yeah,
And so for
yeah,
me, it's like the disconnect from nature, the disconnect from understanding our place within the natural world and natural systems is so like it's symbolic when someone just throws their avocado peel and banana just in the garbage, right? To not understand that avocado and that banana came from the earth, came from a plant, works to nourish us, and can go back into the earth to nourish the soil to complete that cycle again. So I find it kind of humorous that, the one piece of nature that we bring into our homes that we consume in our bodies, people are not making that connection, and
yeah.
it's so crazy that it's laughable.
Yeah, it is, to be honest, in a way. I mean, yeah, we need to think about more about composting, and not just biochars, but like, I don't know, vermicomposting sounds fun. Every
I
day,
watched that when
like,
I had my first.
but yeah, what I say is like it's my perfect pet. Like I know an animal person. I mean, I like animals, but I know like I can't be bothered a bit. So you just leave them like eating on my waist. That's perfect. It's
It
great.
was, yeah, during lockdown, I had my worm bin. And it was so interesting, seeing their personalities in that, sometimes I would put banana peels, other times I would put like onion skins, and like the texture of the soil would change depending on the food I gave them. Like they really loved bananas and the sugars, like the other, like kind of more bitter stuff they didn't like. And I was like, oh, wow, you have preferences. Like, how interesting.
Let's see if I give you, I don't know, a glass of wine. If it's gonna, if you're gonna start like messing about. That would be interesting. Okay, so another thing is, tell me one fun thing that people can do to fight climate change, other than coming to tell us or any kind of event. That's we already said that.
One fun thing. Um, I mean, my go-to, as I already said, like is, compost, but I
Yeah,
understand that that's
okay.
not so fun. I don't know, maybe like water conservation, take more showers with people. Like that could be fun.
Okay, well, like shower sharing. It sounds like a tongue twister. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah,
Could be a
like
fun one.
yeah, cool. Like anybody, like I would just, that's,
Someone you like, someone you like.
the first person who comes along, okay, well, it's what why? It's a good, like a speed showering or something like that. That could work. A new type of social activity. Anyway, okay. Now even more, we raise the bar, right? It's a stand-up moment. Could you come up with a joke, like but a proper joke about climate change? But let's try. Let's try your luck.
I mean, that's a hard one, right? Like even asking like, what's funny about it, and I think that's the creative challenge, right? But yeah, I think one that I thought was really funny is how do you make a great climate party?
Well, it's gonna be tell us. I don't know what's what could, well, yeah, something like that. What's that?
You plan it.
Okay, that's a good play on word. Yeah, that makes sense. It landed well. It landed well,
Cheesy,
to be honest.
cheesy, cheesy, but it
Yeah,
works.
it works. Yeah, yeah. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so you passed this test as well, but there is another a final test, actually multiple choice questions. So it's a quiz. Yeah,
Okay.
you ready for this? No money involved, though.
Damn
Yeah,
it.
you win the glory. You win the glory, right? Okay. Okay, so you got three question for each question. You got three potential answers. Yeah, right. So first question: what is the carbon footprint of training a machine learning model equal to? Right. So option A: charging 3 million smartphones. Yeah. Option B: Sultan Al Jaber being in charge of organizing COP28. Option C: Kim Kardashian being in charge of raising climate awareness. What would you go for?
I mean, I want to say the Kim K being in charge, but no, I'll go with option A.
Okay, well done, well done. Well, Kim K could have been believable, to be honest, but you know. Right. So, second question: who said that at least half of the global warming has been caused by the sun? So, A: Corinne Rivera after taking too many drugs during the Tellus event. Option B: Corinne Rivera after talking to ChatGPT all day long. Option C: Nir Shaviv, an associate professor of physics at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem.
I mean, I've gone in rabbit holes with ChatGPT and have, seen it hallucinate, had it me hallucinate with it. So B is possible, but no, I'm gonna go with C.
Yeah, you're right again, but honestly, I really hope that it was one or the A or B, to be honest. Unfortunately, it's a professor of physics. Anyway, right. Like last question, right? So, what is dark data? Right. So, option A: data which is generated, collected, and processed and stored, sorry, for single-use purposes. Option B: data generated by Corinne Rivera. Option C: data taken from the dark web.
Ooh, this is an interesting one. Um,
Hmm.
dark data. Well, in the context of climate, I'm gonna go with A, the single use.
Yeah, so I'm glad to hear that your data is clear. Let's say it's not dark. You're done. You're done out 3 out of 3. 3 out of 3. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
And yeah, right. That's the end of this Climate for Fun episode. Corinne, thank you so much for your fun contribution.
Antonio, thank you so much. This was great.
And of course, thanks to whoever tuned in today. Next episode will be in a month as usual. In the meantime, remember to fight climate change one love at a time. Ciao.